There are insults you forget by the next morning, and then there are the ones that change the way you see someone forever. Mine happened on a random Thursday night. One sentence, 9 words, spoken in front of people we both knew by the woman I thought I'd eventually marry. She laughed after saying it. Everyone else did too. I didn't, because somewhere between the laughter, I realized she wasn't joking at all. My name is Ethan, and this is how one careless sentence ended a 4-year relationship. I met Ashley through mutual friends. She was funny, confident, and impossible to ignore. We clicked, almost instantly. After 2 years of dating, we moved into a downtown apartment together. Life felt balanced. I worked as a software developer. She worked in marketing. We split rent, at least. That was the original plan. A few months after moving in, Ashley lost her job. I told her not to worry. I'd cover everything until she got back on her feet. Rent, utilities, groceries, car insurance. I never complained. We were building a future together. Helping each other was part of that. She found another job 4 months later. The pay was decent, but somehow, nothing changed. Whenever bills came due, she'd say, "I'll get the next one." The next one never came. I kept paying every month. Eventually, I stopped asking. I convinced myself relationships weren't supposed to be about keeping score. Looking back, that was my first mistake. Over time, something else changed too. Ashley stopped treating the apartment like our home. It became her home. She redecorated without asking me, invited friends over while I was working, even joked that I needed permission before moving furniture. Little comments, little decisions, none of them seemed important on their own. Together, they painted a very different picture. Then came the dinner that changed everything. A group of friends came over for drinks. The conversation drifted toward relationships and living together. One of Ashley's friends asked, "So, how do you two split everything?" Ashley laughed before answering, "Oh, Ethan. He's basically just my roommate who pays for everything." The room exploded with laughter. Someone even added, "Sounds like a pretty good deal." Ashley smiled, raised her glass, and toasted to it. I forced a smile, but inside, something quietly broke. Nobody noticed I barely spoke for the rest of the evening. After everyone left, I asked her, "Did you really mean that?" She looked confused. It was a joke. I nodded. "So, what's the funny part?" She rolled her eyes. "You're seriously upset over that?" I didn't answer immediately. Instead, I asked another question. If I'm just a roommate who pays, what exactly are you contributing to this relationship? Silence. Then came the argument. She accused me of making everything about money. I told her it wasn't about money. It was about respect. Money was simply where the disrespect had become impossible to ignore. For the next week, I thought constantly about that conversation. Then I did something I'd never done before. I reviewed every expense from the past 18 months. Rent, bills, furniture, vacations, streaming subscriptions, groceries, nearly 85% had come from my account. It wasn't generosity anymore. It was dependence, and she'd started treating it like an entitlement. The following weekend, Ashley announced she'd booked a beach vacation. I smiled. "Sounds fun." She looked surprised. "You're coming too." I shook my head. "I wasn't invited." "Of course you were." "Really? Or were you inviting my wallet?" She didn't laugh this time. That night, I made one decision. I contacted our landlord. The lease renewal was only 3 weeks away. I asked for my name to be removed. Then I found a small apartment across town. I signed the paperwork 2 days later. When Ashley came home from work, half the apartment was already packed. She stared at the boxes. "What is all this?" "I'm moving." Her face turned pale. "Wait, you're serious?" I nodded. "You said I'm just the roommate who pays." "So I'm moving out." For the first time in years, she looked genuinely scared. She apologized, said she'd never realized how much she'd hurt me. She promised things would change. maybe they would have. But the problem wasn't one sentence. The sentence simply exposed years of imbalance I'd refused to acknowledge. Moving day arrived. A few friends helped load the truck. Ashley cried the entire time. I hugged her goodbye. Not because I wanted to stay, because I still loved the person I thought she was. About 3 months later, one of our mutual friends called me. Apparently, Ashley had to move back in with her parents. Without my income. She couldn't afford the apartment she'd insisted felt like hers. I didn't feel satisfied hearing that. I just felt sad, because relationships shouldn't fail over rent. They fail when one person starts seeing the other as a resource instead of a partner. A year has passed since then. Today, I'm dating someone completely different. On our third date, she insisted on paying for dinner, not because she had to, because she wanted us to be equals. That small moment meant more to me than she probably realized. Looking back now, I don't blame Ashley for accepting my help. I blame myself for never setting healthy boundaries. Generosity without appreciation eventually becomes expectation, and expectations without gratitude quietly turn into entitlement. Love isn't about keeping score, but it is about mutual effort. Both people should feel valued. Both people should feel respected. No one should ever feel like an ATM with a heartbeat if someone jokes that your only value is what you provide. Pay attention, because sometimes the funniest joke in the room is actually the most honest thing they've ever said. If you've ever realized a relationship had become one-sided, share your story in the comments below. Sometimes walking away isn't losing someone, it's finally finding yourself.